start with how you're feeling and where you are health-wise, heading into this game and just, everything you've been dealing with from a health and family standpoint?
I'm doing well, actually. I mean, I started my treatment the other day. I'm in chemo and proton therapy. It's been going well. Yesterday was a little bit of a bear. It knocked me down pretty good, but you got to get back up and keep plugging along. And those have been good. So I'm feeling great. I am, all things considered.
What has this all been like since you took the job? Apart from your health standpoint, I mean, obviously the organization is dealing with some pretty heavy stuff, a lot of public criticism. What has all of that been like for you? What has been your goal in dealing with all of that, internally and publicly?
Yeah, well, Michael will say is first of all, show everybody we are trying to rebuild the culture. We're trying to change the culture. We want to develop one that can be a positive one, so folks want to be here, want to be part of what we're doing, and build a sustainable winning culture and doing it the right way. Trying to show that, we're going to do what it takes. If we have to, discipline people, we're going to discipline people, but, we're not going to stand for it. What I'm trying to do is get the media to understand, and the people that want to criticize, be critical, understand that those are things in the house. I get it, and I respect that. I understand that. We take all those allegations seriously, but at the same time, give us a chance to go forward. Give us a chance to get past it. We know who everybody wants to blame. Well, let's go through. We have an investigation that we started internally with a very reputable firm here in the D.C. area, and Mr. Snyder suggested that the league, get involved as well, which they have. And all we want is for people to understand we are working on correcting these things. We want to get past the blame game and get to the correction game. Because, all you do is talk about what happened in the past, you forget about going forward. Well, we want to go forward. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say he doesn't care, but that's baloney. I care. That's why we're trying to go forward. We try to correct everything, make sure everybody understands that, with our sincerest apology, that those things happen. And we are trying to rectify it so that it doesn't happen anymore.
When you came on board with the Eagles with Andy, the franchise at that time was not in particularly great shape either. Is there anything you can draw from that experience all those years ago?
I've drawn on that since I left Andy. When I became a coordinator in Chicago from Philadelphia. I was in Chicago. One thing I always talked about was practicing fast, doing everything fast, controlling the tempo. And I got to San Diego the same way. I did that as a coordinator there. Hey, let's practice fast, do things right, let's get things correct. Then I come to Carolina, and I really relied on the things that Andy had taught us. That's one thing. Andy coached his coaches too, and that's one thing I try to do with my young guys: coach them and make sure they understand what the standard is. That's one thing that Andy always did. He had a standard; he wanted us to live up to it. And so those are the things that I've taken from Andy. I love the way Mr. Lurie did things, and his openness. Some of the things that Mr. Snyder have talked about. Mr. Snyder's been terrific. He has been very good with myself, with the coaches, with our players, and supporting us. Again, he's all part of what's going on here in change. A lot of people aren't giving him credit for the things that he's done, things that he's allowed us to do. The name change, I think, was one of the biggest steps he's taken, and he was at the forefront of that. He talked to the league first about it when everything started to happen, then brought me into the fold, and we put together a plan. He hired the highest-ranking woman in media production, and Julie Donaldson. And then he turned around. He hired Jason Wright as our co-president, the youngest one ever at 38. He's the guy that communicates with everybody and does a great job. So I think we're taking a lot of steps and trying to do things the right way and get things corrected so everybody knows, that hey, we're going forward.
Hey, Ron, Chris McPherson from PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Wanted to know, what has it been like watching Doug Peterson evolve from a player, from when you were a coach here, to the coach that he is today?
I just think I love Doug. As a player, he took so much, and he never blinked. And you see that now as the head coach. He took so much early on, but he never blinked, and he stayed true to who he is. And lo and behold, he wins the Super Bowl. He really is. Not to be condescending, but when I've worked with young guys that have gone on and have had success, I feel like, wow, I'm pretty proud of those guys. Sean McDermott did that, and look at where he is now. And that's exciting. I mean, I'm proud of Sean. And now Doug, even though I wasn't his main coach, but just the fact that I have known him and watched him, John Harbaugh, somebody I worked with, I mean, you feel a twinge of pride when you see guys you've worked with do well, especially good guys that are good people.
Ron, when you first took the job, what were your initial thoughts of Dwayne Haskins, and what has he done to assert himself and earn the right to be the starting quarterback to open the season?
Well, when I first, got the inquiry from Mr. Snyder, I went and started watching their games, and I watched their game tape. I was able to get hold of game tape, so I got a chance to watch them. And what I really focused on were the games that he started, because those game plans were developed for him. And really got to see him grow each week. And that I thought was impressive, was that each time he got on the field, he improved. But what really got me was the Detroit game. He had to get 2 drives back-to-back, put them in scoring position to win a game. He didn't flinch. And there was something positive about that. And then the more I watched him, I noticed, that his ability to throw the ball, had a quick trigger, has good arm strength to make all the throws, and he wants to win. And the conversation he had with me back in January, I thought was very honest, very upfront. And really, I just told him, I said, look, you want to be a starter, you're going to have to compete for it. You have to show me that you want to be the starter. These are things that I want you to work on. These are things I want you to correct. These are things I want you to look at. And he was great. From that point on, it was like, wow, okay, I'm going to get it. I'm going to do everything I can, Coach. And he did a great job. He did. I'm proud of him.
Coach, how difficult was it to release Adrian Pearson and to focus on turning that position to the young guys, mainly there, Antonio Gibson, the rookie hybrid player out of Memphis?
It was difficult. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's probably one of the toughest tests I've ever had to make because his commitment to football and how hard he worked at it. That's one thing I don't think a lot of people understand. Here's a guy that really works at it. That's why he's had such the career that he has. And it's hard also when you come a guy that that could help you, but just for how much longer? But I know a guy with that kind of competitive spirit drive would end up somewhere. And he's in Detroit, and he's joined Darrell Bevel, who was his offensive coordinator when he was with the Redskins. So he went someplace where he trusts the guy, which is good for Adrian. He deserves that opportunity.
Ron, how's the marriage between you and Jack Del Rio? You obviously a very defensive-minded coach, and Jack with his experience. How has that collaboration been on the defensive side of the ball?
It's been awesome. I told Jack, I said, look, he and I sat down, we talked, we have the same philosophy, same ideas. He's got a couple ideas on how he thinks things should be, and so I'm fine with that. I've got a tremendous amount of respect for him, too. He's been a winner. He's helped winners. He's helped build winners. He was in Carolina when they got going. He was in Denver when they got going, when he was with John Fox. So I know he's the right kind of guy. He's handled the last 2 days for us really well. He had a whole day yesterday to lead the team, and then he took the first part of it until I got there, and he was great. And so, believe me, I'm fortunate to have a guy of his caliber on our staff. Hey, guys, we got time for only a couple more.
Ron, I believe it's 5 former first-round picks along the defensive line, including Chase Young. I mean, you have to be licking your chops at being able to utilize all these guys. What's the key to finding that right chemistry, the right cohesion to maximize all their talents?
It's really about that, just what you said. It's about knowing how to rotate them, how to use all their abilities. One thing that we want to try to do is get to the end of the game and have all our guys fresh. So that means we can't put a guy in there and have him play 60 plays, and then all of a sudden get in the fourth quarter and he can't give you 15 more, can't give you 12 more. That's asinine. In today's game, with as good an athlete that you see on both sides of the ball, your guys have got to be fresh and ready to go. It's one thing that I've subscribed to, and I learned it early on in my career, that you got to rotate guys, keep them fresh. You can't be afraid to take a first rounder off the field and force it up front. If we do, we're probably putting another first rounder back on, or a second rounder for that matter.
With Chase Young in particular, obviously we saw the physical talents at Ohio State, but what has he been like to coach behind the scenes from a work ethic standpoint and in terms of developing his game?
Oh, there's no issues there. I mean, as far as developing games, it's going to be about watching your tape, learning from your tape, and going on the field trying to fit it out. The biggest thing I always like to try to tell everybody, hey, let's don't screw that up now.